Howdy everyone, welcome to the next Positive Gravity. Tonight I am starting a new project and I'm taking on something a little more complicated. What I've got are two pieces of yew. This one's got a lot of pockets and difficult curves to it that would make it a little bit hard to use on its own. This one's a little better but also has a deep pocket right here. This might make it a little bit hard to use on its own. So what I'm going to do is use these together. I've built a mold here around this piece, so this piece fits in here. And what I'm going to do is put that in, use hot glue to seal off the end, and then I'll stack this piece on top of it, probably like this. And then I'll fill with resin. I'm going to use the Alumilite Clear Slow, and this whole box contraption will go into the pressure pot and go under like 50 psi for 4 hours. I'll probably just leave it overnight tonight. In the Alumilite, I'm planning on using a polycolor red pearl primarily as the main color, and then I'm going to use this Alumidust black pearl for some highlights. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and set this up, and I'll bring you back tomorrow when I have this all cast and we'll see how it comes out. I think just to protect against leaking, I'm also going to put that thing into a plastic bag, so if it leaks, at least hopefully it'll get caught in here and not fill up my pressure pot with resin, which would be unhappy, so we don't want that. So thanks for joining me. I'll go ahead and get this set up and bring you back when we're ready to pull it out of the pressure pot. You might notice that I still have one of these chunks of wood, and the rest of it's in the pressure pot. The issue I ran into was I didn't have enough resin to fill it up enough to put this in and have it cast solid. So I decided not to put this in at all. Once the resin's mixed, you kind of have to use it, and I decided to use it for this purpose. So the bottom half of it's in there with resin, and tomorrow I'll pull that out and probably set it aside because I need to order more resin so I can mix up another batch to set this into. So this is going to sit on the sideline for a little while. Alright everyone, I've pulled the casting out of the pressure pot, and it actually looks like it came out pretty good. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a nice solid red and black metallic resin casting inside there. I really don't see any bubbles at all, so I think that this casting worked really well. So now the question is, what am I going to do on top of this? I've got more wood here and I want to fill this up a little bit more. So I went out and got some more resin, just some more Alumilite Clear Slow. So that'll get me a little bit higher up in here, but I still think I need to fill this more. So I've added some corners, like that'll get turned off when I turn this anyway. So I just filled that with some scraps. And then I have this post in the middle, which is designed to hold up whatever piece of wood I put in there. So I've cut this piece down, drilled a big post hole in the middle of it, and what I'm hoping is to get this live edge in the final finished piece. So this piece will sit in here like that. Fills up a lot of the space down here and presents that live edge into the piece. So I think I'll go ahead and pour that, lay that piece in, and maybe lay another piece in here with some more live edge. I don't know, maybe something like that. And maybe a little spacer. So maybe something like that. Trying to get some more live edge action in the piece. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and pour it. And I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do about that hard boundary that's there. Maybe I'll make up something with the same colors and then try to pour a little bit of a gradient. Like start off with mostly red and some black and end up with mostly black and some red as I go, to create a little bit of a gradient of color as it approaches the top of the piece. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So we'll go ahead and do this, and yeah, let's hope there's enough resin there. Stuff's expensive, so I didn't want to buy 2 whole gallons. I don't know when I'll use it again. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll set you up and let you see how it goes. I am back to this piece. Last time I showed this to you, I was pouring it, and it was in a big square box. It took 3 different pours of resin to get this filled up, and I didn't record all that because it's just mixing and pouring and waiting while this is in the pressure pot. So I did that 3 different times to get this all the way filled up. One thing that I did learn is that degassing your resin after adding the color might be important. I had degassed the A and the B components separately, but once they were mixed and the colors were added, I degassed them again, and the red color actually had a lot more gas coming out of it than the black color. I don't know why that is, but it suggests to me that different colors might be more prone to bubbling if you don't degas them. So I hadn't seen that before, so I just thought I'd share that with you. Food for thought if you're using resins and colors. I happen to be using Alumilite Clear Slow, so that's what I was using here. And metallic red and black resin powder from Alumilite as well. So yeah, so this is good to go. I cut the corners off on the table saw. That's what these are. I polished this one up slightly so you can kind of see maybe the color on there. I don't know if you can see it, but I think it's going to be pretty nice. It's some nice black and red swirl. And I'm pretty happy with the quality of the pour. It's nice and solid. So it weighs about 15, almost 16 pounds. So it's a chunky beast. So I got to find a really secure way to get this onto the lathe. I'm thinking maybe with faceplate on the bottom here, nice and flat. I should be able to get a nice square mount and then get rid of all this junk. If I had a good table saw, I'd probably run the top off, but I don't have that, so we're going to have to muscle through this on the lathe, I guess. Could use a chainsaw, maybe. Okay, anyway, enough on that. I'm going to go ahead and get this mounted up, and we'll get to the fun part. In the past, I haven't degassed my resin, and I did degas this, so I put it in a vacuum chamber, both before I mixed it and after I mixed it with the color. I also degassed it before I added the color after mixing it. So I degassed it 3 times. Normally I would only do it twice, but I forgot to degas it after